several of the guys have talked about some player-led, player-only meetings, and they've really held each other accountable and that kind of thing. How important is that?
I think it's important that, as a coach, you can sit there and talk about rules all you want and talk about things, but until the players embrace it, it remains in question, I guess. We've always had our players embrace these things, but we've tried to take it to another level, another step, by having player-only meetings, allowing them to digest what's gone on and to talk about the educational components that we put forward and things of that nature. And then I get feedback from our senior group or our leadership group.
Mark, you mentioned during one of your signing day videos that the number one was going to come back this fall. Any more details on that? Is one person going to get that?
I think that's something that'll be on a game-to-game basis. A little bit on a game-to-game basis in terms of, I always talk about who brings us back. We have an award, I'll show you this saying when we get to camp, but I always talk about who brings us back from when a game's in question. And when that one individual is named as such per game, then we'll give him the opportunity to wear number one, providing it's not an O-lineman.
Mark, do you think those player-only meetings have been effective, or is it kind of hard to tell this at this point until they get out there?
Yeah, I think they have been effective because, as I said earlier, I think player-led teams are your best-led teams. And ultimately, you have to make decisions as players, as a group, individually. You have to hold each other accountable, especially off the field. You have to hold each other accountable because the coach is not always going to be there. And so I think the stronger we are in those areas, the better it is.
Mark, it's been tough to blend between the seriousness and severity of some of the situations versus trying to keep it light and get these guys clearing their heads a little bit. Because I know you like to do different things like that.
Yeah, no, I love our football players. I love all my players, and I care deeply for them, and our commitment is to them. So we do different things for them. It's always going to be challenging because things are going to happen sometimes, and we've been fortunate that these things haven't happened. But now we deal with things on an in-your-face type of situation like we've talked about. So, but I don't know if I'm answering the question there or not.
Yeah, but I just mean like the bowling and the alligator wrestling and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's there's time and place for some of those. I mean, tough to kind of balance that.
Yeah, we didn't really do those type of things in the early spring because I felt like we needed to, as I said to some of you guys earlier, I felt we needed to hold. We can't make things trivial in a situation like that. So we have to treat things with the seriousness that they are. So we had abstained from doing anything like that. We just sort of tried to hold our ground and talk very effectively or with our players, tried to, and we had a lot of different meetings that talked about the situation that we're dealing with. So it was all business. So as we move forward, then we can now move. When we started having interviews again, we moved forward with our football team, and you saw some different things occur, whether it was interviews or a bowling league or 7-on-7s or whatever it is. And we'll continue to do that to try and build team chemistry.
Pressure can reveal a lot about people, and in a good way too. Through this, what are some guys that maybe have emerged, Mark? Forget football. That you're like, wow, that's a guy that has some real leadership abilities. Just maybe guys who've impressed you as the team's gone through the problems with how they've stepped up and led.
I think Gerald Holmes is one of those guys. I think he's a guy that has sort of taken control and has put himself out there a little bit. When you stand up as a leader, and I've done this with our football team, and I'm up there, I'm talking to 100, 120 people, and I get used to it, and I can talk to them. But as soon as I bring a player up there and say, okay, now you talk, it becomes a whole different ball game. So to do that, to become a leader on any football team, you got to put yourself out there a little bit, and you're subject to criticism at times. And he's been willing to do that, put himself out there. I think Brian Allen has done the same. Chris Fry has done the same, and that's why these three guys are here today.